When the puck drops, it's not just skill that sets the elite apart, it's belief. So think about the 2014 Stanley Cup final when Alec Martinez of the LA Kings scored the double overtime goal to win the cup. So in that moment, it was unshakable belief that guided his instincts, trusting that the puck, that it would eventually come and he would be able to bury it. So every shot, every play, every shift, it starts with trusting yourself. So let's break down the mindset of belief and how it's a game changer for every hockey player chasing greatness. Hi, I'm Scott Schwertly, an identity architect at GritBase, where I help hockey players just like you reshape their identities to achieve elite, battle-ready performance on the ice. And I'm also the host of this podcast, Hockey Combat Mindset, which is dedicated to helping you become mentally equipped for the toughest challenges. Now, this podcast, it's all about preparing you to win the war in your mind, sharpen your focus, and develop the unshakable confidence needed to dominate every single battle. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. So in this episode, what we're going to be doing is discussing how you can unlock unshakable belief, and we're going to do this on the other side. My mentor, Dr. Saul Miller, once shared a story with me which included an insight about the legendary Michael Jordan. So it was not a picturesque scene on the basketball court one evening, and Michael Jordan actually found himself in a slump, shooting but not sinking his shots. So one of his teammates, puzzled by his persistence, actually pulled him aside and questioned his relentless pursuit of the basket. And so Jordan's response was actually stark and to the point, and he said, "I make my shots." So this moment, it speaks volumes about the power of belief and self-trust, two qualities which are actually important not only in sport, but also in life. So the question that's begged here, the thing that we need to sort of unpack first, is what exactly is belief? So let's go ahead and break this down. So if you think about belief, it typically follows a sequential progression. So it starts with a thought, and then it moves to a feeling, and then it finally evolves into knowing. So let me repeat that. It starts with a thought, that then moves into a feeling, and that finally evolves into knowing. So if you think back on Michael Jordan and the story I just shared there, he knew something that evening, and he knew this, that he makes his shots. So even though he was missing his shots in that specific moment in time, his belief in his abilities never wavered. So as humans, we engage in cognitive processes every single day where we think about a concept, an idea, or information. Now, these thoughts then spark emotional responses, which leads to that second stage where belief is actually intertwined with feelings and emotional reactions. So over time, as we continue to ponder and emotionally connect with a belief, it eventually solidifies into that third piece, which is knowing. It's having that sense of certainty and conviction about that particular belief. Now, assuming in this case, as a hockey player, maybe you want to create new beliefs here, and assuming they're healthy beliefs, this is where the magic actually begins to happen. So, how does one actually foster a sense of belief in themselves? How can they have that thought, again, that becomes a feeling, that becomes into something that you know, and that's where the belief is so powerful? Well, there are actually 3 specific approaches you can deploy right now to actually achieve it, and that's what I want to walk you through this episode. All right, so let's talk about how you can actually start believing and trusting yourself again, if you had it before, and if you don't, how you can start doing it now. All right, so let's talk about sort of pathway number 1 that's going to allow you to start believing and trusting yourself. So number 1 is let your past empower you. So as a hockey player, I'm sure you've experienced your fair share of moments of triumph and also adversity. So now both of these experiences have instilled lessons which can be gleaned upon to enhance your level of belief. So again, I want to repeat here, belief starts as a thought or a reflection, it moves to a feeling, and then it develops into something you know. It becomes part of your core. So the goal in this case is to be intentional about focusing on your past performances, but with more concentrated attention, obviously here on your successes rather than your failures. So the goal is to use your past successes as really sort of beacons of inspiration that you can draw strength from. So whether it was a game-winning goal or maybe a stellar defensive play, you can compile really all these different instances and experiences into sort of a mental highlight reel, if you will, to serve as testament to your capabilities. And so you can then harness the power of that retrospection to begin fueling your confidence, knowing the triumphs of yesterday can hopefully pave a path for success tomorrow. So in order to let your past empower you, one thing I would suggest is to do an exercise. And what is that exercise? Well, it's to document the evidence. So you want to think about those successful moments. Again, those negative moments, kind of put those to the side. Again, you want to build confidence here. You want to build belief. So after each game, take a moment to reflect. And what you can do here is very simple. You can actually identify 2 areas where you excelled, and then maybe just one aspect that warrants improvement. So again, and notice I'm not saying what you did poorly or what you did bad. That's not where we want to go here. So 2 things you did well, 1 thing that could use improvement. And so by acknowledging your strengths in those areas for growth, this is going to allow you to cultivate a mindset that's primed for continuous improvement and ultimately the thing that you're going after here, which is self-belief. All right, let's talk about number 2 here, which is kill your limiting beliefs. So obviously, beliefs are powerful. Now, one thing to note here is a belief can also become limiting, and it can become negative if you let it. So when a belief is first embraced and genuinely accepted, it really can inspire and motivate individuals to achieve their goals and their dreams. But if this belief remains unexamined and unchallenged, it may gradually become limiting, and that's when it gets really dangerous. So let me give you a few examples of some of these limiting beliefs that can really hold you back. So think about, again, from a hockey context here, think about these sort of thoughts, these limiting beliefs that may have entered your brain. Here are a few. I'm too slow to back check, or I'm not fast enough to play as a winger, or I'm not strong enough, or I'm not as sharp as I need to be when reading plays on defense. So these are all limiting beliefs that if you begin to think about them too much or embrace them or not challenge them, they're going to become your reality. And that's not where you want to go, obviously. So as hockey players, we are repeatedly encountering situations like this. These thoughts are running through our head. And again, the more you embrace them, the more you confirm them, the more power you give to them, it's just going to reinforce your limitations. And it's going to really sort of constrain, obviously, your performance. So with that being said, it's vital to prevent beliefs from becoming limiting. So in order to achieve this goal, to not let them take that path, it's essential to engage in ongoing self-reflection. So this process encourages beliefs to really remain empowering and adaptable rather than restrictive. So bottom line here is you can't let your head go in that direction. Obviously, those are negative, they're limiting. Reflect. The more often you reflect, the more often you can catch yourself in that moment. So those don't, again, become your new normal or your new reality. So here's another exercise for you. Start identifying your limiting beliefs. The sooner you can do this, the better off you're going to be. So how can you do it? Well, take a moment and identify a few of your limiting beliefs or negative thoughts that you have right now, because I'm sure they're circulating in your head. Once you have them listed, the next task here is to challenge them and really ask the question, are they really true? And most likely, like 99% of the time, the answer is no, they're not true. So prove they are wrong by creating a new set of maybe 3 to 5 beliefs which capture the real you, like maybe I'm the hardest worker on my team, or I'm calm and composed under pressure. And the idea here, obviously, is to keep them positive and in the present tense. That's going to, obviously be to your favor there. But again, challenge those limiting beliefs, really challenge them. You'll, again, realize that they're not accurate, that they're not true. And again, second part of this exercise is then create a new set of beliefs and let those beliefs drive your new reality. All right, so that's how you kill your limiting beliefs. Okay, let's go and take a quick break. As I mentioned, I've got 3 things I wanted to share with you to help you develop and unlock that unshakable self-belief. So we've talked about 2 of the 3. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll cover the last and final one, which is number 3. All right, I'll see you on the other side.
Discover your hockey player type in just 3 minutes. Are you the tenacious bear or perhaps the agile cheetah? Introducing Primal Score, our free assessment to help you unleash your inner beast. It's time to take the limiter off your potential. Claim your edge by taking this fast and free assessment that's designed to help hockey players just like you achieve their full potential. Go to yourprimalscore.com to get your personalized results. Again, that's yourprimalscore.com.
All right, well, welcome back. Okay, so we've talked about the first 2 here, which is really the idea of letting your past empower you. That, again, you want to think about those successful moments from the past and let those fuel you moving forward. We then spent a few minutes talking about how you can kill your limiting beliefs, you want to replace those with new beliefs that are actually true. That's going to help you develop that unshakable self-belief. And then finally here, we're getting into number 3, which is really being your ideal self right now. So that probably sounds like a lot right there. Be your ideal self right now. So what do I mean by this? All right, so Dr. John DeMartini created a transformative philosophy really centered around the concept of this, of be, do, have. So it's this be component that I want to stress. So it's a philosophy that holds immense relevance for the sporting world and specifically for hockey, and you can use this to your advantage. So let me break this down in greater detail. So again, it's be, do, have. That's the philosophy here, and it's very transformative, as I mentioned. So be involves imagining oneself in the future as the ideal hockey player. And this is where you're embracing the mindset of a confident, skilled, and an accomplished athlete. So not tomorrow, not next week, or even next month, right now, the goal is to be that person. So you want to embrace that reality. So this mental image sets the stage for the subsequent stages of do and have. So all that said, with the proper mindset in place of being who you want to be, as a hockey player, you can eventually transition to stage 2 there, which is the do, where you're actually actively engaging in the actions and behaviors aligned with that envisioned future self. So following me there? So you want to be that ideal hockey player that you have always aspired to want to be. You be that person. If you start acting and thinking and behaving like that person, you're going to start doing the actions that represent or reflect what that ideal hockey player looks like. All right. So when that starts to happen, you're going to execute plays, you're going to make decisions, you're going to bring on the skills that are needed to, again, reflect that future self that you aspire to be. And so over time, this consistent action will eventually culminate into the realization of part 3 there, which is the have, that players who begin to manifest the outcomes that they desire are going to begin to experience the success and the fruits of that labor that come from it. All right. So who do you want to be? If you start manifesting that, you're going to start doing the actions that reflect it. And then eventually you're going to have the things in your life. You're going to achieve the success that you want because you've got the right healthy mindset, that you're being your ideal self right now. So Dr. DeMartini's be, do, have approach, the thing I really want to emphasize here as we wrap up this thought is it really underscores that it's not enough to simply visualize the end result. Rather, it's about embodying the right mindset of living in this present moment and being willing to put in the work so you can achieve your desired outcomes. So in other words, you want to focus on your mindset first and be who you want to be right now, and ultimately the results will follow, as I mentioned. Okay, so just like the other two areas, I do want to encourage an exercise on this front. So what's the exercise? Well, I want you to be in that mindset of who do you want to be? What's that hockey player? What's that person you want to become, your future self? So here's the exercise. Who do you want to be? So when you think about the be, do have, carve out a few minutes and actually answer those questions. But again, strong emphasis here on the be part of it. So things to kind of get your creative juices flowing a little bit. Think about, what's your main goal as a hockey player? How are you going to feel if you accomplish this goal? What actions can you take today to move you closer to achieving that goal? So be thinking about that. But again, if you can get closure on the be part of the be, do, have, that's a great place to start. All right. As we begin to wrap up here, just one final thought for you. So at the end of the day, belief really serves as the bedrock upon which great hockey players are made. So remember, just like Michael Jordan, it's not about merely making the shots. It's about believing you will. So trust your past successes, as we talked about. Kill those limiting beliefs and prioritize your mindset. Again, think about your future self. If you can do these things, you're going to begin to experience a heightened sense of belief and confidence, which is exactly what every hockey player wants and desires. Okay, so that's what I wanted to discuss today. Those are 3 specific ways to unlock unshakable self-belief. So with all that said, I will officially call this a wrap. If you're thinking about hiring a mental performance coach, I've got some good news for you. I've actually created a comprehensive guide just for you. It's called Elite Athlete, the ultimate guide to mental performance coaching. This guide is designed to help you navigate the early stages of finding the right mental performance coach and answer any questions you might have along the way. I know when you're in the early stages of something like this, maybe doing something different by bringing on someone that can help you with your mindset. Again, I'm sure there's tons of questions in your head. Again, this guide will help you answer any of those concerns or questions or thoughts. You can download your free copy at gritbase.com/elite athlete. I would also love to stay connected on Instagram, where I share daily insights and strategies for mental performance in hockey. Just search for @GritBaseHockey and hit follow to join that community. All right, that's it. Have a great week, and I will see you next Tuesday. And until then, stay focused and stay fierce.
You have been listening to the Hockey Combat Mindset Podcast with Scott Schwertly. New episodes release every Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a rating, provide a review, or make a topic recommendation for a future episode. Thanks again for tuning in, and join us next week for another episode.